it means,
Stop recording.
yeah. So how does it like it's stored in the database, in what kind of files we have, what all we have. So it just this that kind of architecture we'll be studying today. I don't know. Okay, so so the database files, there are three major files which is contained in the database. There are all other kind of files also, but there are three major. One is the control file, the database files, the data files, and the redo log files. Okay, so control file contains, it is the kind of a controller of the database, or contains information about the database structure, physical structure of the database. Okay, at what time the database is created, what is the current checkpoint. I think we already discussed about the checkpoint. What is the checkpoint number, what is the SCN number, what is the commit sequence number, you can say, because whenever any change is happening or any commit happening, it keeps on incrementing, it keeps on incrementing to the SCN number. And where are the location of the data files and log files. The location of the data file and log files are also contained in the control file. So whenever you are starting your database, it is the file which is opened, it is the second file which is opened. First file is your parameter file, which will contain your parameters of your database, like the size of your different pools, SGA pool, PGA pool, all kind of different parameters. Okay, second file is the control file which is opened. Okay, so it, you can say parameter file is generally an instance file, okay, which is containing the instance information. But control file is the file which is containing the database information, the files information, different kind of files information. So this kind of first file which is opened for the database, you can say that. Now this file links the complete database now. Okay, this is the file which creates a link between the instance and the database, right? We already talked about the instance. Instance is the memory structure on the RAM, on the physical memory. Now that instance needs to connect to the database, the files, to the database files. So now this file actually becomes the link between the database and the files. I think some, okay. Okay, and now comes the database data files. Now data files are the files which contain the actual data. Okay, it contains the actual data, all your tables, indexes, and everything. In addition to that, also contains the dictionary. We already discussed the metadata. So metadata is also contained in the data files. So all data, your actual data, your tables, indexes are contained in data files, and also the dictionary also is also contained in the data files. Next comes the redo log files. Now redo log files contains the changes made to the database. Okay, we understand what are changes, already discussed. Update old data, new data, delete. So data files are linked to redo log files, are linked to the redo log buffer. So first changes are returned to the redo log buffer, then these changes keep on going into redo log files, right? This keeps on going into redo log files. Now let's understand how redo log files work. I can show you with the help of maybe maybe a paint also, or maybe in WinWord, or maybe paint, I think. I don't know. Okay, let's try. Okay, just assume we have three redo log files. We have three redo log files. Okay. Okay, we have three log files. We can have minimum is two. Okay, maximum no limit, but generally 5, 6 is more than enough. Okay. Okay, now how does it works? Okay, I told you it's the changes that is stored in your database. So redo log file is filled like one in this way. Maybe uh, okay, this is the, what do I say, a pen. So I'm filling up this redo log file. Okay, is maybe it's 1 GB or 250 MB. It is full now. Okay, so what will happen if it is full? We have something to draw like this, a line. Okay, I don't know, I'm not good at it. Okay, okay. So this file is full, it moves, the cursor moves to the next file. Now this is a major event in the database. Okay, This is a major event in the database. I call this event as redo log switch. Redo log switch. So this is the major event in the database, known as the redo log switch. So I filled up this file and a redo log switch occur and move to the next file. This might be looking very simple to you that yes, definitely one file is full, it will move to the next file. Okay. So now what happened to this file? Now similarly, when this file is full, then it moves to the next file, right? So I do another switch. Now this file is full. Now what will happen? Will this file go to here to again, right? But if this goes to here, then what happens to the data which is stored there? Okay. So now that seems to be overwritten. No, that will not be overwritten. What will happen? Once the redo log file switch occurs on here, it will create a copy of this file. A copy of this file is known as the just a minute. Okay, I'm sorry. Okay, so now this is creating a copy, and this copy is known as a archive log file. Okay, so now this understand, once this file is full and a redo log file which occurs, immediately a copy of this file is created, that is known as the archive log file. Archive log file is created. Similarly, when this log switch occur, it also creates a similar file of archive file. These archive files keep on creating and creating and creating. Okay, this keep on piling. Since how long? Every time a switch occur, it will create it. But how long we'll keep it? It depends on our retention policy. Okay, so your retention policy can be 7 days. Okay, so generally by default, I think it's 7 days. You can keep it. No, actually, it's like not a by default, but generally the setting you can do it. You can keep it for 7 days, 14 days, 21 days, 30 days, or 60 days. It depends on how much space you have, how much critical is your database. Depends on lot of things, like how is the size of database or space you have in the tapes. Maybe you are keeping it for you're putting into tapes, later you're transferring to tapes, because this is the files which we will be able to recover. Okay, we would be creating a backup of the database as well, but maybe if we want to a record of a changes which are happening, okay, we have to keep this archive log files. Okay, if you don't want the record, then we can immediately take a backup and delete this archive files also. Okay, so once you take a backup, these archive files are not required actually for to recover the database, but you if you want to go back and check some changes, you'll want to do it. Okay, so this is something I hope you understand it. This is very interesting how it is done. Okay, and bit complex also. Okay, so just let you explain once more. You this file, this is a redo log file. This file is full, causes a redo log switch. This is creating a once a redo log switch occur. This is creating a copy of this file. Similarly, when this file fills, it goes to this file. It creates one more org file. It go to this file. This is full. It will create one more file. It will go to this. Okay, it will overwrite this file now, and after overwriting, it will again create one more copy. So in this way, keep on working. Okay, and this keep on working. So this is keep on happening. So you can have 3 redo log files, 4, but 2 is mandatory. I'm saying to you mandatory because like 1 is full, So to like where to copy and where to overwrite, that would be not possible, right? So at least there should be two files. So switch happening among these two files. The more the files, sometimes it is good, sometimes it is good because the problem comes, just assume the copying very slow. Copying is very slow. Maybe this drive where the archive file is kept, it is very slow. So because redo log file is generally kept on the faster disk. Okay. So when it is switching, it should not happen the case then this three are full and it has come to this file, this point, but this copy is still continuing, right? So this copy is still continuing, so it will wait. It will not override because it is not still not copied to our archive file. So let's keep on waiting. So first, to avoid such scenarios, we can have multiple five, four or five. Okay, two is sometimes okay when the activity is not much, but sometimes copy is slow, so that might be an issue with two files. Now, how to judge which file is this? So each file, when Redulog file is when the data is written to a Redulog file, it assigns one number to it. Okay, just assume the number here of this file is 100. So this is 100. Will this become 101? Will this become 102? Now, when this switch occurs over here back again, so now this will become 103. So this number keep on increasing. This become 103, then this will be 104, 105, 106. So this is keep on increasing. So this also denotes the changes which are made to your database. Okay, this is the numbers. Okay, so now each archive file which is created over here will have the same number. Like if I create a copy of this earlier, it become 100, 101, 102, then 103. So this archive file denotes which time it belongs to, which change it belongs to. Okay, then it will be helpful for us to recover. Okay, it will also store the timestamp where this redo log file is created, with what all transaction happening. It also store the timestamp also, and also denotes one number. Okay. Okay, I think you need to study it once more. Maybe you can go through these files once more to understand it in a better way. Okay, maybe you will go through this video, so you can go through the videos again and again to understand it. Okay. So next, okay, this is the three major files we will say mostly use these files. Other files are mandatory as well, okay, but these are file which is like the core of the database. These three files. Now comes the parameter file. Parameter file I already told you. This is parameter file contains all the parameters of the instance. What is the size of my pools? What is the my cursor settings? What is the size of the SGA, PGA, and different cursor setting, tuning settings we have. So this is the first file which is opened in the database. Very first file. When I'm starting my database, this file is opened. Then this file have the location of the control file also. Now control file links the instance because this is an instance file. Okay, okay, this opens your instance. This opens the instance, and now it opens the control file. Now control file will contains the other information of the database, that is the controller of the database told you. So that is the controller of the database contain other information database, then it opens the complete database. Next comes the password files. All the major passwords which are DBA passwords, which are password of the high privileged users, are contained in a password file in an encrypted format. So these all passwords are contained in the password file. Backup files are the files which is used for the backup. So once you take a backup of your database, then these files are found, which is known as the backup files. Archive files we already discussed. We also call it as a archive redo log files, and this, or we can also call it as a offline redo log files. This we call as a online redo log file. This we call as a offline redo log file, which I've already explained you in this presentation, as you can see in this MS Paint. Okay. Trace files, alert log file, these are all files which are used for troubleshooting purpose. Trace files are created for each background process. If any background process like database writer, log writer, server process, user process are failed, that failed process creates a trace file. Okay. Alert log file is the major file which is there for your errors and for your warnings messages, for major structural changes.
Hello.
Okay, so these trace files are the files which is created when there is any internal error in the database, eh, any any process fails. Okay, any process that creates a trace files. Okay, alert file is the first point to troubleshoot. So first thing, anything going bad to your database, you go to the alert log file, then you go to different trace files, and it will give the path of the trace file for the further detailed error messages. Okay, these are the major files. Okay, so now let us move to the structure of the database. You understand the physical side, we have data files, and the data files have are dependent, physically we have files. Okay, so now logically these files how these files are, uh, like data files depend on operating system blocks, OS blocks, right? Operating system blocks, these are divided into operating system blocks. Now logically, how I told you the address of any block is found. Okay, so address of this, now this operating system block makes data blocks, because now database will store data in its own format, right? It cannot dependent on the operating system block ID, so it has its own block. So one Oracle database block can have one operating system block or can have multiple operating system block, right? So the default size of database block, I think it is 8 KB. Okay, it is 8 KB, and the default size of operating system block, the block size in the operating system in Windows or Unix, it is 2 KB. So just assume it is 3 blocks becomes one database block. You can change the block size also of the database, but it is changed only once during the creation of the database. When the database is created, you can't make much changes. Maybe if you create one more table space, then you can have a different block. But once things are created, once data is stored in that blocks, you cannot change the size of the blocks. It is very tough or very complex for Oracle to manage to change the size, right? Because it is the actual houses or the actual data. Just assume that after everything is done, after the local administration have made societies, made houses, how it is difficult to merge two houses into one, or to change the house number, right? It would be very complex for Oracle, so it is not suggested to do it. And if you want to do it, then you have to make a new table space. If you make a new table space, like assume you make a new house or new society, you make a new society as your table space kind of thing, then you can change the block size. Maybe you can increase it, square feet size you can say, in houses like. So in the same way you can do it. So we discussed about table spaces, segments, extents, and blocks, right? So what I told you, that one block contains multiple rows. So when an object is created, one segment is created, one table or index is created, one segment belongs to one segment. Now this segment internally creates multiple extents. Okay, assume, let us go back to MS Paint. Okay, mm, let me save it, or maybe let us form a here only. Just assume I given a create statement or table and made a size of 4 MB. Okay, by default of 4 MB. So what will happen? It will create, the size of block is 8 KB, so it might create 4 extents. Okay, okay, these settings are internal settings. Okay, the size of the extents, block size, so size settings which is done at the time of the creation of the database. Okay, extent size you can change, but things are already optimized and okay. Okay, so maybe we need not to interfere much. Okay, so when you're creating a table, you don't know what is happening internally, but what is happening internally, it is actually, if you once you create a table and you check the size of that table, you will get at least 4 MB of the size of the database, depending on the configuration of the database, depending on which version you are installing. Each version had its own default size. It doesn't mean that the size of the table is zero. It will automatically create one size. That will happen. It will, like, just assume 4 MB. There are 4 extents, 1 MB, 1 extents, and 1 extents contain maybe 100 blocks. Now this 4 MB is full.
this 4 MB is full. Now doesn't means that it will add one more block to the segment. It will add one extent. It will add one extent. So in this way it works. So every time your table is size is increasing, it will keep on incrementing one extent. Okay, keep on incrementing one extent. So I linked an extent with the kind, you can see a colony or a road and a table space, a bigger space, kind of a city you can say, and blocks are the actual houses. That is the minimum address we can get. So there is nothing more division than blocks in the database. So if you need any row, okay, if you need any row, then it will bring, I told you that it will bring the complete block into your buffer cache. Maybe that block containing 10 rows, because Oracle cannot go inside that block and check it. Once it reaches the buffer cache, then only it can identify that row, right? So might be it is containing 10 rows or 5 rows or maybe 100 rows, depending on the size, but it will bring all that 100 rows into the buffer cache. Okay, so this is the way it works. So table space is the logical structure storage for the database. Logical storage means that we have data files, right? Now we want to divide these data files into table spaces. Okay, we have 100 data files, so we might be saying 10 data files belong to one table space, 10 data files belong to one table space. Okay, this is a logical division of your data files. Okay, okay, so we put on the and when we creating any object, we are just telling Oracle that we want to just assume there are three table spaces in the database, T1, T2, and T3. So when I'm creating a table, I will just say that create this table in the T1 table space. Now it's Oracle to check in which data file it need to put in. So like they had 10 data files in one table space, so we can't decide on it. It will check that which data file has a space to put in and which data file is best to put in, right? So we will just denote the table space name when we are creating any table, any index. Okay, maybe when you're creating a table, you're not doing it because there is a default table space for the database. Okay, so if you don't assign any table space, automatically you go into one table space. Okay, because as a developer, when you're developing, you don't know how things happening internally. So but when you are creating a table, it by default goes to one table space. So Oracle just want to minimize the complexity for the users. So it has there is a parameter which is the default table space parameter. Okay, so let us come to the data blocks. That is the finest level of granularity. We can say data is stored in the data blocks. So it corresponds to one specific number of the physical space. Fine. Then comes the extents. We already discussed the extents, the specific number of contiguous Oracle database blocks. Okay, that is used to store some information. And then comes segments. Now segments, the level of logical structure above an extent becomes a segment. Each table or each object has a specific segments. There can be any number of extents in one table. Just assume there can be 100, 1000 extents, but segment remains one. Maybe it's a table of 10 GB, 20 GB, or 100 GB, 1 TB, or maybe 4 MB also. So segment is only one. Segment denotes one object. Okay.